Welcome to our first teacher's methodology video this year, and I guess it's first time of such a format. We're going to do that approximately once a week, sometimes once per 2 weeks. Here we're going to share our approaches, our systems, our views and methods of efficient learning of our students. I believe that within 6 months till approximately the 1st of June or maybe the 1st of July, today is 21st of January, we are going to create common system which is going to be recognizable among other approaches of other schools, and our students of course will be truly enjoying it as well as its results. Okay, so this is video number 1. Here I'm going to express my idea on such thing which I would call the frame of semester. I'm going to explain what I mean, why that is important, and how it's going to influence the efficiency of our classes. And then, of course, I will ask for your ideas, your feedback on the topic, and then we're going to start practicing that, implementing that in our classes. The parts which you are going to find attractive for yourselves. So I'm sharing my ideas, and of course you're welcome to share your ideas. So, frame of semester, what do I mean? I really think that you're good teachers, great teachers. I've been to your classes, to some of your classes I have been, some of your classes I'm going to attend, but still I see your passion, I see your energy, I see how interesting you are for your students and how interesting you try to make your classes, and that's amazing. That's good news. The bad news that in the modern state of market, we could say, market of English courses in Kiev, let's take it locally, this is not enough anymore. Why? I have made some market research, and quite many schools provide good teaching, and teaching pretty much depends on a person. If a person feels like being a good teacher, feels that he or she wants to do it and deliver something to his or her students, this person is a good teacher. If not, if there is no motivation or some other reasons, not. But I deeply believe that we need something a little bit more than that. We are able to create our own structure and system which is going to make our teaching even stronger. What do I mean? Using this frame of semester is something which we are going to fill in our semester between the classes. Because, okay, classes are good, but we all realize that if we don't create some system which connects all the classes together, like some parts of a chain, if they're not connected together, the big part of knowledge just fades out, and our students feel like being entertained in the class, but when they come home, they sometimes are not willing to continue their progress, to work on their progress by themselves. And that's why I really think we really need this frame of semester. So basically, what is frame of semester? It is when we are creating for our students some efficient culture of learning. Culture lays beyond system, because system, it's maybe something even from outside, but culture sooner or later with successful implementation goes inside the person, and whether this person wants or not, works inside and delivers better results than without the culture. Culture, it's like feelings about learning. If we are talking about culture of learning, it's like what a person is ready to do, what a person is ready to think, to feel about learning, how he or she motivates himself, how a teacher helps to do that. So it's something more than system, it just goes inside the person. And basically this is our work, if we look at it deeply. Yeah, this is our work to create this kind of efficient system. This distinguishes us on the market eventually. This is going to distinguish us on the market eventually. And basically this is going to distinguish us for our students for sure. They will never forget you as a teacher, which I think is a good thing. You could ask me, like, Inna, it's not our work. Companies should create this kind of cultures, or students themselves. Theoretically, yes. In practice, even great companies with, almost non-stoppable learning process, it's still, I don't get the feeling that they have this, culture of efficient learning being built. Maybe it's called in some other terms. It can be some kind of leadership program, constant development program, but I don't get the feeling that companies would be focusing on this task of creating the culture of efficient learning. Why? Because maybe I suppose that many people still don't think that's not that important. The same as companies or HRs in the companies, the same as our students, regular people. They might think that, oh, this is all bullshit. It just depends on the teacher. If I like the teacher, I will be doing my homework. If I don't like the teacher, or if he or she doesn't push me to do that or motivate me to do that, it depends on the company culture as well, push or motivate, I'm not going to do it. But basically, it's kind of yes, but we can take all of this process under our control, or at least try to do it, at least try to make it as a game, So how do I offer to do it? And this is going to be our benefit if we do succeed in minimum or maximum implementation of that. This is going to be our strength, our skill, our bonus, so why not? Okay, so basically how to do it. This is going to be a system that your students work on your English regularly, not only between classes. Yes, you also can say, Inna, they have home tasks, what the problem? Yes, but I also offer, some kind of network, some kind of routine actions, or let's say rituals, which they're going to do every day or almost every day, to create this net of their knowledge. And only creating this net, they will get the skills how to operate themselves in order to make some steps every day, in order to work out their English by themselves, despite tiredness or deadlines or bosses or circumstances, unbearable circumstances, which usually, of course, happen to our students. We are helping them to create the net, how they're going to manage themselves, to be their own managers in the process of learning. So how? First, I'm going to introduce 8 approaches to you. And of course, you're always welcome to share your approaches, which you use. Number 1, challenges. I know that Andrew in Askania intermediate group, maybe in some other groups as well, but I know about intermediate, that he has introduced a very interesting challenge. Andrew, please record your video. Tell us about video, audio, what kind of challenge you have introduced to guys, because I see, they're typically not so active. We have common chat, and they're typically not so active in the chat, just like to put homework and just maybe some photos of the whiteboard from the class. But now, they are writing something there every day, and I feel that they're enjoying that, and basically that had influenced another part of their culture, because you are now, Andrew, building the culture of learning in their group as minimum. So what kind of benefit this challenge has brought to another part of culture, I'm going to tell a little later. So first, how we build our net. how we need our net is challenges. So different kinds of challenges. They can be marathon, video, audio. They can be vocabulary challenges, Andrew. They can be grammar challenges, pronunciation, maybe sometimes it's also useful. And writing. It depends on the goals of our students, of course. If you ask them, what do you want? What do you want from me? And they tell you, we want to speak. It's logical to set them on the marathon of speaking. But after they have made the marathon of speaking, they might have noticed that they lack vocabularies. That's why it was a little bit complicated for them to speak, or they didn't sound well when they were recording themselves speaking. So maybe in a few weeks it makes sense to have another kind of challenge, say vocabulary, or if they cannot it's difficult for them to be memorizing all the rules, grammatical rules. They confuse them all the time. Maybe it makes sense to have something like grammatical challenge. And if their goal is writing and pronunciation, we could be doing that as well. For example, my cases, we have got Ukraine Telecom company, and guys, they're pre-intermediate level, so they are good. They are good enough pre-intermediates. I announced before the new year, it was approximately the 14th of September, that they're going, next 2 weeks, they're going to have a video English marathon. So each working day, from Monday to Friday, they will have to record 1-minute video in English talking about anything. I know my purposes. My purposes was to boost energy, because when people work hard, they get more pleasure. It's like it's funny, and it's like illogical, but basically it really works like that. When people don't put effort, they don't enjoy. You couldn't oversee that among the students. So they were recording these videos, and it was quite difficult for them, because they are mostly responsible people, and they had to take time to prepare, then to record. And basically it's quite hard to be watching your videos when you're recording something for first times, because you over criticize your gestures, your posture, your appearance, your voice. You have thought that you look differently, and you look like not what you expected. But they were doing that, it was hard for them, but really I could hear that they got more confidence, more inner freedom, and of course it has influenced their language. And when there is one girl who hasn't been doing that, comparing, and she was missing the class for 1 month, and when she came back, we could notice the big difference, not only because of marathon, because they were doing their best in other tasks as well, but basically this marathon helped to believe them in themselves. So what is a challenge? Let's define challenge. I like definitions. Challenge, it's when you are taking N days, you look at your students, at their potential, maybe start with something not long, about 10 days or 5 days in a row, or even 3 days in a row if they are not very well disciplined, or 14 days, but you have some working days, and some rest days. So for example, 5 working days, 2 rest days, or 1 working day, 1 rest, and so on. So you take N days depending on your students' abilities and duration, and each day they must M minutes per day, they must be completing some task according to their desires, and the leverages you see for them. You see that this group definitely needs grammar boost, grammar active workout. You give them grammatical challenge, or you see that they lack vocabularies, or they know a lot of vocabs but they're in passive vocabulary, not in active. They have hard time speaking and using them in actual practice. You give them vocabulary challenge, and so on. So, what do you think about this kind of challenge? I will be very pleased to read or to hear, to see your comments when I publish this video in our Viber channel, Viber group, as well as we have YouTube channel for teachers. I know we haven't been announcing that for for a while. It's our bet. But we're going to start doing that, and basically I guess every week you're going to have some video and some tasks from there. Okay, the approach number 2. Wait a minute, I'm going to check out something. Super. It's still recording, so great. What's the next approach? The next way how we could be building our net? It's watching serials. Yeah, it's easier than a challenge. You cannot be stressing your students all the time. You understand this? Sometimes they must be stressed and tense. Sometimes they must be given something more relaxing. So watching serials, when you're just taking any kind of serial they enjoy, it can be Peppa Pig if they are low level, or BBC Extra still for low level. It can be Office, it can be something more complicated like The House of Cards, but it's for high levels, IT Crowd, Friends, Sex and the City. You know, you look at your students, they're interested, they are IT guys, I suppose IT Crowd could be interesting for them. Anyway, you choose together the serial and you give them to watch one episode, for example, per week. For the weekend, this is task for the weekend. It can be just watching, it can be watching and writing their resumes, watching and writing down and presenting in the class 5-10 vocabularies from this episode. It can be something else, you know, when they kind of learn some parts of the script of this episode and just play that in the class. Anyway, so the task is to be watching serials. It's good for their listening comprehension because in the class there is rarely opportunity to be listening to the whole episode, the whole film. We can allow ourselves only part. So this way they will be listening more at home, working more on their vocabularies, listening comprehension skills, just, you know, the enrichment of their language, and they will be progressing. My recommendation just to be watching in English with Russian subtitles. For high levels like upper intermediates, we could start with Russian, then switch to English. But basically at first, to make it less risk, less challenging, Russian subtitles, then English are also possible. Way number 3, which I enjoy pretty much, as for me it's quite underestimated. It is when your students, for example, they have troubles finding time watching serials, or there are some other, circumstances. Maybe they're having tough period at work and they don't want to, it's hard for them to separate their attention to something else. This is really a great thing to do. Or after a vacation, after long holidays, when you just need to switch your brain back to the language you're learning. It can be French, Spanish, English, of course, Arabic, Turkish, doesn't matter. This is quite smooth transition from mother tongue to the target tongue, because target language. You just download some application with radios in the targeted language, and you just listen to these radios for 1, 2, 3, 5, 7, maximum 10 minutes per day. Just background when you're walking, when you're cleaning, just brushing your teeth or driving a car. You could be listening to this. It helps to build passive vocabulary. It will not help you to build beautiful language, I suppose, like beautiful speech, but it will help you to switch your brain, to train listening comprehension, of course, and to increase your passive vocabularies, which is good for smooth transition. The next, I suppose it's number 4, writing letters, compositions. Again, this helps to frame their semester if they know that, for example, once a week they're going to have a composition to write on the topic which was in the class. This practices their writing skills, of course, but also it helps to practice their language, because they have more time to think and maybe choose more beautiful constructions, implement their rules, implement vocabularies. So it could be good as a frame, you see, because frame works very well when it's a system, when it's predictable, when they know, on Mondays we are going to present compositions, for example, on Fridays we are given to watch the next episode of the serial, and on Wednesday we are writing a dictation. I'm going to talk about that in 1 minute. So when they have this frame, you as a teacher, you create the system for them. And even if a student, let's say, is quite lazy, or we could say busy, so it's difficult for this person to be doing his homework regularly, at least some of these parts the person will be doing, and the system will be holding this person. Maybe it will be not so easy for him or her to quit. It disciplines, it pushes you to put efforts, and people are happy when they put in efforts. And it motivates to do at least something. You can choose some activity which suits you better and do it. And the system holds this person from quitting. And they interact together. The person and the system, they hold each other. And it's like the frame. It's predictable. Person knows what is he or she is expected, and he or she knows that with minimal effort, progress is still possible. Maybe not sharp, but this person shouldn't be expecting for sharp progress, right? But at least smooth, at least 30% higher than in the beginning of semester or than 3 months ago. This system guarantees, and person feels nice when everything is clear, logical, understandable. And when he or she has this frame. Number 5, dictations. So dictations also can frame your semester, because students know that, for example, every Wednesday we're having a dictation. We must revise those 10 or 20, 15 words, and we are going to write the dictation, And this frames their semester. It gives structure, and structure holds, and we as humans feel very comfortable inside of structure. Proof? Very easy. I can guarantee you that when you're having long vacation, or if you were having these long holidays on the new year, you are out of typical structures. You didn't need to go to work. You didn't need to go to the university if you're still a student. You didn't need to attend your courses, sport classes, and so on. Yeah, first couple of days it's like, wow, freedom, wow. But then you just get this feeling that you're missing of something, that something is being lacked, that you're feeling uncomfortable, you're feeling disenergized, maybe even demotivated. You wake up, you don't know what to do. Of course, I'm exaggerating right now, but still, I got this feeling. It was my first time for 5 years when I had 10 days vacation. It's like I wasn't working at all, It was fun. From the 28th, from the 1st of January, because before that I had some trip issues, trip adventures. Then from the 1st of January, it was finally calmness, serenity around me, and I could have been having rest, and I had been dreaming about that. But, on the 4th of January already, after I have seen a couple of films and redecorated my apartment with this New Year's stuff and rested and walked and just absorbed some sun on my skin, I was like, I'm being bored. The same happens to your students when they don't have this system. Of course, they have regular classes. This is a system itself. But the more frames we create, the tighter we keep our students. This is good, isn't it? Why not to use if we can do it? The next framing is 5-10 vocabularies that your students must learn each lesson. We are going to have a new next video about that as a part of our methodology, because these are all parts of the methodology. I offer that each of your group or each level, we're going with time, not very soon, but with time, within 6 months, we're going to make it program for each level, structure of each level, what is expected from the teacher, from the students in the end of the level. But basically for each group, each level, each book, I would ask you to create 200 must know semester vocabulary minimum. So in the end of semester there must be 200 vocabularies which your students know for sure. If you wake them up in the middle of the night, even the weakest students of the group, they can say them, they can translate these words. But about this we're going to talk later. After each class, I will just ask you to be taken. You could be choosing them together with your students, or you can just make somebody be responsible for that. Pick up 5-10 important vocabularies after each lesson, add them to some like list or Quizlet or something like that, and to be revising them from time to time. Kahoot is also a good program, but I think Katya will be the best to present it. The next, number 7, semester plan. Yeah, what's already done, what's going to be done. This also helps to have the structure of the class, because sometimes, no, quite often, students don't understand and don't feel how much they have already learned this semester. They think they failed, they're not progressing, but come on, it's so much not true. And if we make it more visual, if we show it to our students, or if we put the lesson plan on the whiteboard, like, okay guys, I took this idea from Jenny, thank you. Like today we are going to have this, this and this, and as you have gone through some points of your plan, you just cross them out. This also helps to frame the semester. Students know, oh my god, we're going to learn this many topics, and we have learned this, this and this, and you know, their brain gives them energy, invests, no, not invest, but you know, resources them with energy to keep attending the classes, to keep putting efforts, because you know, there is a plan to complete. Wow. The final part, number 8. This is also a very funny thing. I think I might record another video on that. But basically, it's very fun when your students know that they must be doing homework. It's fun to get its discipline. It's your authority as a teacher, your role, you know, your like key role in their life, your strength. But they have to know that home task must be done, and to motivate them, to push them to be doing that, to approach as a possible home task reward for doing or punishment for not doing. Both of them must be funny. Of course, we're not going to humiliate our students publicly or beat them or bite them, which could be working sometimes. They are still funny, you know. They can be funny fines for not doing. There is such an idea that you, for example, in my classes, we have this box, pizza box, and if a student hasn't done his homework, he puts more than 50%, hasn't done less, at least, okay, hasn't done at least 50% of their homework, they put some amount of hryvnias into the box. Of course, it can be 10 or 20, yeah, something not like miserable amount, because 1 hryvnia wouldn't have that effect, or even 5 hryvnias. But 10 or 20, it's not that much, but when a person puts that for 3rd time, it can be, wow, why am I doing that? So this is good for so-called, we are going to have big offline training on that, but this is going to work out in red culture, when students are quite you know, they are not non-independent, so they must be said very clearly what to do. The system of like strict instructions and punishment, and sometimes, of course, like motivation and encouragement, they do work. So students, if they have problems with discipline, if they cannot control themselves, this system is really perfect to, you know, to hold the fist or to hold the teacher's fist, and just really to push them what to do. Because if you say them, oh, you're so good, you have done this, this works nothing. But once they have put couple times this fine, you know, they will start doing that, because you know, they don't want to feel humiliated, even though it's more like fun, but still they don't want to feel bad about themselves. They don't want teacher to feel bad about them. This works only with cultures, with companies with strong leader, and people who are quite non-independent, so they need to set what to do, find work very well, or they are used to be said what to do, very clear instructions. And encouragement, they work for so-called green cultures or orange cultures. It is when people are ready to compete for good results, they're getting ready to compete for the prize, or there is atmosphere of friendship, and these people, they're high in their consciousness, in their personal development. They could be paying this 10 or 20 hryvnias, but it doesn't make effect on them. So if it doesn't make effect, so person just pays and doesn't systematically does his or her homework, you could try this approach. Vice versa, to be encouraging your students for doing homework. You could be giving them little cakes, oranges, sweets. So think with your students what could encourage them. Of course, it's little prize, but it's emotional. What could encourage them to do homework? This is also, this idea, by the way, was said from another one Starosta student in Askania. In this group we conduct with Andrew together. He said, like, no, money doesn't motivate us, let's have some encouragement. And we started thinking, we're still in the process of trying different encouraging instruments, so when we find something I will tell you the case. So basically, to conclude, as you can see, the kind of frames are of different kind to satisfy people with different level of emotional state, but I would say with different level of like personal development and personal control. There are people who must be controlled and pushed basically all the time. Otherwise, if you are soft with them, if you're kind with them, they think that you are weak. With these people, your authority must be, like untouchable, unshakable at all. For this way, you discipline them quite a lot. But there are people of higher level of development who are quite good at controlling themselves. How you see that? If you control them, if you don't control them and they do homework, they are high level. If you don't control them and they stop doing homework or start doing it like something in between, not very high quality, they are of this like lower culture, and you need to discipline them all the time. They are disciplinal but still people love to be cared of. If you lack discipline at all, they will not respect you, and they will not feel your power, your structure and frame of semester. They will not like this teacher, I could guarantee that, because when you discipline them, of course degree can be different, it must be different in different cultures, these inner cultures of organizations and people. But still, if you give some amount of discipline, let's say 10%, 5%, 3%, 20, 50, 60, 90%, I don't think we give, people feel that they are cared of, that you create system for them, that you do care about their results, about them to be knowing words, vocabularies, and they usually enjoy it. Just the right degree is crucial here. Also, they can be emotional, like two kinds of triggers. We give good emotions to stimulate to do more, and we give bad emotions to stimulate to do more. So it's like, for example, audio recordings, right? For lower levels, they can give audio video recordings good results, like, wow, I can say something, I can really speak and it sounds quite smooth language, wow. But for higher levels, we push them to feel bad emotions, because they might think their language is good enough, but when they listen to themselves or watch their video, they say, wow, it's not so good as I expected, I should be training more, So it's good trigger as well. And frames could be also and should be also brainy. So it's like plan, instruction, to-do list, all this kind of logical, rational, predictable structures. We have students usually of all three groups, yeah, who need all three kinds of frames or like stimulations. So we better combine them. That's why I combine such instruments like reward for doing homeworks, which is all, or punishment for not doing, which are obviously emotional, as well as disciplinary things as essays or dictations, and brainy stuff as a lesson plan or semester structure. This, like, we have done this, we have done this, this is a thing to learn, and so on. So basically I have shared my ideas with you. I'm sure there are more, but let's at least implement some of these 8. Let's test them and trying to see how it works. So basically I have given my point. Now it's time for you, yeah, to be given your point, your turn. So I will ask you 3 questions. So please write in this our Viber chat what kind of ideas you like the most, you find the most suitable for you, you find the most attractive, and you are ready to start them with your students. It's question number 1. Each of you, please write answers. They can be short, but it's important for me to see your feedback. Number 2, which 1 to maximum 3, but 1, 2, you are ready to start implementing with your students this week. They can be not all the students, one group, yeah? Right, please. And third, your ideas, your points on what has been said. And Andrew, please describe us your challenge. Guys, thank you very much for listening to me. Please write your answers. I'm really looking forward to them. By the way, as you might have noticed, we are creating so-called green and sometimes orange structure in our team when we are trying to be friendly to each other, trying to speak on positive vibes. On the other hand, we have some rules which we ask each other to follow, because rules give structure and friendly communication gives feeling, yeah, nice feeling, nice motivation. In our structure, we don't need that much discipline because people are quite self-conscious, but not all people are like us. So different levels of management of these people, different levels of creating systems and wider, more cultures for them are necessary. Okay, looking forward to your replies. This is the element of orange culture, like rules, you know. Looking forward to your replies and see you very soon.